Hi, everyone. Hi. Welcome, welcome. It's nice to
Hello.
to be here today. I'm here with Jason, and I haven't been with him probably for 3 or 4 months, but we have busy lives, and I always love to work with him. You've got that energy, Jason, that's just very calming, and I'm
Mm.
sure that helps you in your QHHT work that you do. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's helped me in various.
I
When I
bet
was a
it has.
teacher, my students always said, "This is more like a therapy session than a class." And at the time, I was like, "Well, that's a compliment, I
That
think."
is a compliment. What age and what did you teach when you were teaching?
I taught high school, and each year was something different. So, I mean,
Okay.
I it was English, but I taught different aspects of journalism, which I did not like, and ninth
Okay.
graders, 10th graders, 11th graders, 12th graders, research
Okay.
projects,
Yes. Research writing. Yeah.
philosophy my last year,
I had
which
no
was
idea.
my my little
Dream? Your dream.
baby.
I
I
get
really
it.
want, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I get it. Mhm.
yeah,
That's
yep,
fabulous. For some reason, had no idea because, I'm an English professor and I've been teaching for 25 years.
oh,
But I really love the humanities. And so I end up teaching world lit, but I also teach film and theory and
ooh,
humanities and all that stuff. And if somebody told me that it would be like a therapy session, I would be thrilled too, because that means they're not only enjoying it, but they're gathering something from it and hopefully giving it back to you,
yeah.
discussing it. Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, this isn't about teaching,
No, I know it's not.
but
No,
I
no.
was trained in constructivism, so that's all about
Oh,
um,
okay.
making it about the student and their life experiences, and asking those
Wonderful.
questions that are deeper than
Yes, yes.
um, who
Yeah.
who killed the mockingbird. It's more like what in your life resembles this experience.
Resembles that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So I'm teaching diversity at the college level, and some states don't allow you to take in their colleges, but the students are all over the country.
yeah.
And we were talking about the Salem witch trials, but I used a constructivism idea as well, because I said, who's the person that's oppressing women right now? What's going on with it's a witch hunt in a way, but but I don't think that they put that together. It was like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah. So history always determines uh, as well. It should have determined it. So, oh, that's really good to know. So,
yeah.
welcome everybody. I want, if you have never been with us, Jason and I before, I'm so glad you're here, and we're going to talk about some interesting topics later on. We will absolutely take a few questions, but so I'm going to tell the story, but first, before I tell the story, I'm going to say hi to everybody. And so let's do that first. So first of all, welcome to Sue Toffee, who is my newest member. There's Karen Doyle and Richie, Claire and CJ, David, Joyful Journey, Dance and Debbie, Starhawk, Linda Kennedy, Emmy J, Jessica Lynn, Stephanie McMadden, Buffy Yang, Julie Hamill, Nancy, Ness, Carolyn, Peter, and so forth. Um, and thank you so much. Oh, Ness, Jason was the third reader you ever listened to on YouTube. Well, that's
Woohoo.
fabulous. And yeah, yeah. And yes, Jason is simulcasting. So if you're on his channel, welcome as well. And if you're not on his channel, you're on mine, make sure you go over to Jason Tempinski and like and subscribe to his channel. So, all right. So let's jump into this. This is going to be fun. Hi to anybody else that's come in, and thank you all for being here. So I was talking with my dear friend this morning, and we were talking about aging. And she says she doesn't like to be reminded how old she is, and I don't blame her because I really don't want to. But I embrace it, but I also know that I'm not an age. So if you could pick any age to be, or if you feel that you are a certain age inside, what is it? What's yours, Jason?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a
Uh-huh.
teacher question.
Yeah, it is. Probably never thought about it before.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. Yeah.
Do you still take chances with things? Do you still jump into something, or do you feel that you still have that idea that I can do that? And maybe if you look at
Yeah.
your body, you say, "Oh, I don't know," you know?
I don't really.
Yeah.
I don't stop to think about
Okay.
it.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm. I get
'Cause
it.
I've always felt more like I don't
Okay.
feel like I've ever really grown up, as cheesy as
Okay.
that
Just
sounds.
no, that's okay.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It really does. So for me, when I look at my 46-year-old daughter and my 40-year-old son, I say, "Oh, I have to be older than them." But you know what? I'm not inside. I would love to think I was in my 30s still, because they say that when you pass, that's what you go back to is your 30s. But I'd be happy in my 40s. My 40s weren't bad. So
Yeah.
here's a few more. Amanda says you hate aging. Okay. You got to change that mindset. We're going to talk about that today. That's going to be good. Your mind says you're 30, but your body reminds you you're 67. And yes, I get that too, because I'll be 69. So I'm 40, but I'm going to be 69. Um, okay, Julie Hamill, you feel like you're 48? That's good. I'd be happy being 50, honestly. It's okay. It's all about your mindset. So I go over to Jason's channel, and he's got a video on aging. I'm like, oh, this was meant to be. So I watched it, and it was wonderful. And I said, let's talk a little bit about it and about what our beliefs are and what the messages we give ourselves and so on and so forth. So, Buffy's got an interesting comment. The Atlanteans in their time used to live to be at least 1,000 years old. I don't know what one would do for the another 900 years. Well, I don't know. I'd want to be 1,000 to either. I'll be honest with you. And especially if I was the only one left of my, it's like, do you want to be frozen in one of those ice castle things and then brought back? And it's like in 300 years, well, I won't know anyone.
Yeah.
I don't think
I
so.
remember this talking about books in English. I remember I had this favorite book when I was a kid, and I don't know why it was a favorite book because it was kind of sad, but it was kind of like the Asian version of Rip Van Winkle, where it was this
Oh,
fisherman on the beach, and there's this turtle that was, um, being tormented by these kids, and so he saved the turtle, and then the turtle came back with this princess. Um, and then they went back under the ocean, and she took him to this beautiful kingdom, and she gave him a box, and it was like, don't open this box, it's a gift for you, don't open it. So he opened it, and so when he went back, the box was
oh,
time. So he had to gone for I don't remember how long, but like all of his family had passed away, everything was
uh-huh.
changed. I love the story though. So it's
It
kind of,
is a very interesting. It's like Pandora's box too. If
yeah.
once you open it, you can't put anything back into it because
Hmm.
everything's been unleashed again.
Yeah.
That is it has a poignant message, and that's probably why you liked it so much. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. That, yeah, the Atlantean thing, I mean,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
something I said I talked about in my video because
Oh, did you? Okay. Yeah. I listened
it's
to like the first 10 minutes of it, and then I had to go.
yeah. I
Okay.
put it in at the end, and they've given me, reference to the Mayan records and the Egyptian records and Sumerian records of,
Okay.
leaders and rulers who lived for 10, 20, 25,000 years, and they said that that was a thing. But then they
Wow.
put in the kind of, it was their one belief system, the collective belief system, to, we automatically assume time and our physical bodies were the same back then, but in case
Yeah, but it probably yeah, you're
it
right.
wasn't. So, it was 25,000 years, but we're using our own conception of years. So who knows how long it was.
Yeah. Well, even when, I'm not a biblical scholar or anything, but I remember my dad saying what Methuselah, I believe, lived 900 years or something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
yeah,
So you have to wonder, was it 900 moons or, you know what I mean? Like,
right,
yeah. How did they decide what years meant to them at that time? But,
right.
yeah. So I think a couple of you encapsulate it. Linda Kennedy, you said in your mind you're 48, but some days your body feels like 80. And I think that's absolutely true. I think that that's what determines our more of our belief system than what it is that we can do and what it. But then I watch somebody like and again, not my favorite person, but George Bush Sr. He did a parachute jump in his 90s. I don't know if I'd do that at 25, but it's like it's like, um, some people can just say, "Oh, I can do that. I can do that." And then they do. They just do it. You see exercise people that are in there's a guy on Instagram. I don't know if it's a joke or not, though. I keep looking at it, wondering if the guy has on a mask. His name is Granddaddy Harvey. That's the name of it. And it says he's 109 and he's dancing with a cane and boots and all this stuff. And I keep looking at his face. His face looks really leathery, and I'm
Mm.
thinking maybe he real. I mean, maybe that's just maybe it is him. He just has a face that I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I just there's so much at play that it's
Mm.
it's hard to we have our beliefs, we have our experience of the physical, um, but then also how much of it, because our body listens, so it's not like
Yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah.
it's immune to all the messages that we get, like you shouldn't do that, you're too old, or mom, you're
Yeah.
40,
Yeah. Thank you.
mom,
That's
you're
the big
55,
thing.
you're gonna
Yeah. Yeah.
what?
Yeah. 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 It is. And it limits us. It's limiting us in
Hmm.
so many ways. I will say that when I was younger, in my 20s, people in their 40s were told that they would never get hired because you're too old at 40. You're already getting age discrimination at 40. If I look at a picture of my parents at 40, they looked old. And I don't know if it's because I'm looking through baby eyes, that I remember or not.
Yeah.
But now as an older person, I'm seeing people my age getting jobs that are perfectly capable of doing them. And of course, we still have that political mess with the age thing. And yes, I agree, age can create a problem in some ways,
Hmm.
especially for governing. But I really do believe a lot of it is here. So
Hmm.
the belief system is really interesting. Yeah. Do you feel like it, Ness, that 40-year-olds experience age discrimination? I don't really know if that's true anymore, but I'm I haven't seen it and I'm in my 60s, so I'm just very lucky. I don't think I'd apply for a full-time position at this point, though. There's a point where you want to retire or you want to move on to do something fun, so I don't think I would. But all right. So Richie has a comment here. When we see ourselves in a younger age than we really are, is that a representation of where we are in our evolution in the body? Oh, I love the question. Hmm. I wonder if we feel right now, my energy level is really hard because of the sunspots and
Hmm.
the ascension process. It's making me tired. It's weighing me down. And everybody's been feeling that.
Hmm.
But besides that, um, that's a good, why I agree with this? There's a test you can take actually, and it says, do you have this disease, this disease, or how much do you weigh, or do you drink a lot of water? Do you eat right? Do you walk? There's this whole big thing, and then you hit the submit button, and it tells you what your body age is.
Hmm.
I don't know if I believe it, but there are people that are older that don't look old,
Yeah.
and not even because they've had plastic surgery or whatever, but just because they
Hmm.
don't. And I have to wonder. I wonder what their age would show up on that test, because they
Yeah.
take care of themselves better. Yeah.
I almost want to say that I don't know, that would be limiting too. And especially when, it's our physical, it's not just about beliefs, but it can be messages from our spirit team in terms of what we're not
True.
paying attention to, or
Mhm.
also if we've been carrying around certain emotions or certain um,
Yeah.
beliefs about past experiences or past traumas or things like that, our body after a while and our spirit team after a while, like, okay,
Mhm.
it's about time to get rid of this because it's kind of festering in there, and
Yeah.
there's a reason why also um the aging process, it's not all about belief. Now that I'm thinking about it, it is partially like, what are we carrying around that we haven't addressed? Because a lot of us,
Emotional baggage.
yeah,
Yes.
so
Yes.
it builds up.
Absolutely. Yep.
It builds
Yep.
up. So it's that's something to
Yeah.
consider too. It's like they don't
It is.
want us moving forward with anger, regret, shame, fear, all of that.
Correct.
Um,
Yep.
Even the
Yep.
fear of being older.
That's right. That's right. I always like to say I don't have may not have the get up and go that I used to have. I may not have the looks I used to have, but I'm a lot wiser than I used to be. And at least I'm still open to being wise. So that's
Yeah.
one big thing, I think. We were talking about the DNA, and if any of you have had your DNA done, it's quite an interesting journey. It really is. They can pretty much tell you anything. But for me, it said two things that were very, very telling. You can beat your DNA, I think. And again, everybody is different. So I'm not suggesting everybody can be exactly like me or anybody else. But in my DNA, it said that if I was a drinker, I would be an alcoholic. Definitely. That's what it said. And I remember thinking to myself, well, that's not very, and this was like 20 years after I stopped drinking. So it wasn't like I changed my life because of it. It used to put me to sleep if I'd had a
Hmm.
glass of wine. So I thought, well, that's interesting. So it's kind of like tarot reader or a psychic tells you don't ride on a horse on Tuesday or you'll fall off. If you don't ride the horse, you're not going to fall, right? Yeah. So it's just a little warning sign for you.
And you write
Yeah.
it anyway, but you
You
still
ride
can't
it
believe it.
anyway and you
Then you
fall off.
fall
Well,
off.
I told you. Yeah. That's right. That's right. The other one I got was that I have the fat gene, and my kids have the fat gene, and you could probably just accept that, or you could see what you could do about it. So you do always have that option. You may always end up fat, but at
Yeah.
least you are aware of it. The other one that I loved was, and I told my students, if I'm not here one morning, I had a 10 o'clock class. I said, if I'm not here one morning before 11, then you know I died. And they're like, what? It says that people with my DNA die before 11 a.m.
That's interesting. What time zone?
Yeah, right. Thank you. That's a wonderful question. Yes. Yes. I took the 23andMe is what I took. Yeah. Where you
I did
swab
that
in.
too.
You did?
I did that
Yeah.
a while ago, actually.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it was interesting.
It is. Yeah.
I kind of found out that I'm more Irish than Scottish because my grandmother was diehard, like
Oh.
Scottish versus
Uh-huh.
Irish. And then it ends up before her, it was kind of very Irish.
Very well, yeah, a
So,
lot of people they have it ingrained in them. My husband was told he was part Cherokee. His grandmother was Cherokee, and he
mm,
did it. There's no part of Cherokee in him at all. Zero.
oh,
No.
wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And yeah, and for me, I've managed to find about 450 cousins. I mean, fourth and fifth cousins all over the planet because they come in. But one of them I found was a student I had and when I worked at the Aeronautical College here in Washington, and his father, he said, was a member of um, the biker group, if you know what
Uh-huh.
I mean, the Hell's Angels, and
Oh,
that he
wow.
died young, and his mother was kind of crazy woman as well. And one day it comes up in my feed, he's my cousin. I didn't know him. I didn't know his father. I didn't know his mother. I didn't know anything about him. But he had New England roots, and that's where I'm from originally. And so I went in. I said, "How you doing today, cousin?" It was so weird. It was so weird. It was amazing. It was
Yeah.
very amazing. Yeah, I know. You can't make this stuff up. You just can't
Yeah.
make it. It's too much. Yeah. Yep. Oh, Jeff, that's the most common time to die? Your dad died around then? I thought that it was early in the morning, like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., that time period of the day. But anyway, well, I just made a joke out of it because there's nothing I can do when it's time to go. But
Yeah.
yeah, yep. So limited belief systems is really something we should look at. Um, I have always tried to use the mantra, I'm healthy, but wealthy and wise. I can do anything. And there are some people that actually have turned the clock back on themselves by doing things like that. So I don't know what else I've missed. I've got to go up and finish listening to the whole part of your thing, but it was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's,
Uh-huh.
I mean, even, all the times that has come through sessions and everything, I mean, it's consistent. It's not,
Mhm. Mhm.
it wasn't a one-time thing where, and especially when people come in and they just, and I've noticed that, because one of the things I do online is kind of working with your physical body and then tapping in and everything like that.
Mhm.
But I'll ask people to list their physical symptoms, but then they'll be sitting there with glasses on and they don't say anything about their sight. And it's like, and it's
Yeah.
almost, they, most of the time they just kind of, they brush me off. They're like, well, I'm older and everything else. And it's just something that we take for granted. And
Very
um,
true. Very
it's
true.
a message too. And we
It
get
is.
so accustomed to, oh, it's time to get glasses, or, oh, it's time that I can't jump out of the plane anymore. And we just,
Yeah. Yeah. Or we have to go by ladies at my age should be wearing polyester bathrobes and with our cigarettes or whatever it is. I don't know. It's a stereotype, is what it is. Yeah, it's a
yeah,
stereotype. Definitely is. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad some of you have gone over and definitely signed up for Jason's
Oh,
channel. Thank you so much. That's wonderful.
but I think that
Um,
genetics is something that is important to kind of touch on, just in terms of that, they're essentially, we're supposed to be healthy all the time, and we have the perfect body. It's designed to
right.
be perfect and everything else.
Uh-huh.
Putting toxic environments, toxic water, toxic food, toxic air aside, um, we
Yeah.
should be healthy all the time. Genetics, that has come up actually,
Hmm.
a couple of
Hmm.
times, and it's not like they give credence or they recognize genetics as a determining factor in our physical makeup,
Right.
but um our belief systems and what we believe shape, we can change our DNA by our belief systems, and we
I
can
think
make
so.
decisions.
Yeah.
And they've described it that it is crystalline. It does respond to vibrations or our thoughts. And so it's important to recognize, just because someone in your family or several people in your family have cancer, for example, it's not all about the physical. We can choose whether or not we're going to accept, oh, I'm going to have cancer because my mom, my grandfather, my
Right.
grandmother, great grandmother. We can choose not to live as though we're going to, and challenge whether or not that gene expresses
Hmm.
itself.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, and it's also looking at patterns of ways of thinking and ways of coping with things in life, because cancer is based in emotion. And
It is. It is.
so
Mhm.
looking at the emotions shared by family members, and then how you process and deal with or release emotions, is important to consider. So there's a lot of, it's not just like genetics, it's not a one-way street, that it is two ways. That
Correct. Yeah,
um
there's a number. It's
yeah.
like the way you speak to yourself or you speak in general. I remember my daughter was a teenager, typical teenager. She was making me very angry. She wasn't listening to me. She was upstairs, and I said, would you just get down here? You're really pissing me off. I ended up with a urinary infection the next day. Be careful what you say.
It's true. Wow.
Yes. Yes, it's absolutely true. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, at the time it did, but
Yeah.
afterwards I thought, what the heck was I thinking about when I said that? You know, that was kind of stupid, but
Yeah.
yeah. And food does have a lot to do with it. A lot of additives in the fast food industry and in other things that we have, you know, that are there for us to eat and drink and imbibe in. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's funny, we're supposed to be healthy overall, but the toxins that are everywhere all the time, it's like, but they, and I am remembering because there was something about, I had a client who she was really worried about, she was obsessed with radiation from technology, also including that whole thing with like 5G, how
With the phones, yeah.
and everything else. And she was like, I just need to know, is this legitimate? What should I do? Is it dangerous? And I was actually kind of surprised by the answer but then it made sense that, they said that the body's highly adaptive and that there are, even way back when, there are a lot of things in the environment that our bodies are not accustomed to, or toxins that it's not. So it was almost re-empowering her, saying, your body is adaptive. Don't automatically assume things are going to happen negatively just because that's the cultural belief or buzz.
Yeah, that's very true. So I'm reading, and they always scare the crap out of everybody, because I was reading the other day that apparently there were, I think it was people, they were doing an autopsy or, medical research, and they found plastics, elements of plastic in men's testicles. Like, what? And they said that everybody has the plastics from the water and other things that we eat, Sorry, I'm getting choked up here. My apologies. But anyway, yeah. No, we'll do some readings, a few readings, but Jason and I love to do the discussions, because I think that it's always helpful to get feedback from you guys, as well as it is for us to talk about what it is we find, in order for us to sort of make sense of it. And I'm wondering, so your guides are saying we adapt to it, and we're getting downloads, we're getting light codes, we're getting up to the five ascension. And so I'm thinking to myself, the 5 ascension hopefully is clearing out some of the crap. And it's only incumbent upon us to just eat right, take care of ourselves. It's not that hard. It's like, come on, people, really, you don't need a big manual. You just need to eat right, drink right. And,
I mean,
but don't act your age. That's the thing you don't want. That's what makes it fun.
But the thing is they keep, that's part of it too, is we're getting lighter. And I've learned recently, everyone who's being born, or, the children that are being born in these generations are crystalline based and not carbon based. And that even if we're originally carbon based, that's changing into crystalline based. So if you notice changes in your eating habits and eating lighter and not eating as much, and anything like that, that's all kind of signs of, or you could say symptoms of.
Symptoms of it. And one of the gals told me it's also if your face is very glowy. If you look really good and your face is glowing. And I'm thinking, people in the chat are saying, well, you can get that from castor oil, if that's supposed to be a really good thing for your skin. But, I really do think so. I think that that's giving all of us who volunteered, and we talked backstage a little about the volunteers, but they gave us volunteers a respite from, the hard work that we do, or to get us to the place we're at, to help other people, to bring everybody's vibration up. And, there's got to be a bonus in there somewhere. So maybe our aging has slowed down, or actually gone backwards.
Yeah. I one of the bonuses for for many people that are, kind of sucking it up and coming back to the earth. Um, is being immune to karma. That's something that's come through a couple of times where it's like that was part of the agreement. It's like, I'll go back there, but I'm not getting caught up in that karma stuff.
Correct. And that was in her book, that this is a way to clear your karma quickly, was to come back as a volunteer. So the reason I bring up Dolores Cannon, for those of you who do not know, Jason is a level 2 QHHT practitioner.
Yeah.
And he's a psychic and so on. But and that's if you've never had QHHT done, you're missing something really important. It's very, very, it's awesome. I've had it done 3 or 4 times in my life. And I always get to the right place in there and start seeing some really cool people and things. So been on the other side, even looking at the heavenly gates and just enjoying all the animals that were there. So yes, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that you're doing. So I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. The other thing is, along with the aging, that's a belief system. And so is the belief in lack and limitation. That was the only other thing I wanted to bring up today, which is something that some of us grew up with. We can't afford that. We don't have the money for that. Those people are rich. Those people have everything. We can't do that. We can't make that much money. We can't go there. Over and over and over. It's kind of like there's an old song from the 70s. The sign said, long-haired freaky people need not apply. So I tucked my hair under my hat and I went in to ask him why. It's like all those beliefs and all of those, they drive us, except I think we're finally driving them away.
Yeah.
I think we are.
We're always pushed to think about the ways in which we just assume, I don't know how to put it. Like we carry so many beliefs that were ingrained in us for so long that came from somewhere else, and we forget. And it's like, like I just saw someone, I feel like wearing what I want to. Is that appropriate? It's like, just do it. I mean, the thing is regardless of, if it's what you want to wear, who you want to be, how you want to dress, what you want to do with your life, regardless of any of that, we're in this lifetime now where we're usually those things that we are afraid to do or leery of doing, or feel like there's going to be some big explosion because we, I don't know, you wear a short dress and you're 67, or I don't know.
Right.
It's coming from, and this is part of the challenge in this life, because we're dealing with not only this lifetime, but all past lifetimes. So if you're afraid of it and you want to do it, just do it, because they constantly are saying, this is the time to really step in and be empowered and not to hold back, because this is not only for you, but all those other yous that in other lifetimes.
The ripple effect. Yeah. The ripple effect. So, absolutely. Yeah. That's wonderful. So one of your subscribers, Jeffrey Thompson, is here. He says he loves that the points are bringing forth. He's been a Reiki healer since '96, a master teacher in 3 other modalities. What we feel impacts how our bodies. Are you asking that question, or are you just making a statement, Jeffrey? Because I agree with you that what we feel and what we think does impact our bodies. Yeah, that's a great, and beliefs are thoughts we keep thinking, which become our reality. Yeah, absolutely. That's why it's like, I think in my case, if I said to my mother, and no offense to my parents at all, they just did what they could do. But if I said, I want to go on this trip with my class and it costs $1,000. Oh, you could never go. There's no way you can ever get that money together. I can't give it to you. Nobody else can. So immediately that's done, because that's what it would be. But now I might say, Well, I believe that I could raise that money in some way, and I'm going to allow the universe to just give it to me. So I'm going to open myself up to it. But usually you can't give it a time frame. Like, I need it by next week. But usually you can ask and know that the universe is very, very benevolent, and there's no limitation. There's no belief in that, and everybody deserves
Yeah,
what they want. What they want. Yeah.
that's yeah,
Mhm.
and that there's a lot of people always, well, not always, but in readings and such, those questions about, will I have enough money to do this, or will I have enough
Right.
money to do that? In the background, and even in my experience, they're always like, if you believe that you're there, you do it, or you have it, and you're happy and have gratitude that you've received it, it's going to happen, and not to question it. Because once you think it, once you have that dream, it becomes a thing in another aspect of our reality. It exists. It's just how you're going to get there. And that's
Mhm.
really what they want us to kind of shift towards, that our thoughts are things. They
Right.
do exist. And once we think it, I want that house. That house is already built and waiting for you. It's just how you're going to get yourself there. And
Right.
a lot of
And you
times,
can't put any limitations on that either, though. Well,
mm-mm.
it has to have a green door, and the door
Oh
has
yeah.
to, have a brass knocker. You can
Yeah.
you can put those things together. That would be preferable. But, my brother used to always say, don't turn away the BMW because you wanted a Mercedes. I mean, just don't be
Yeah.
that picky.
I
It's
and
funny.
I had this example. I haven't thought of it in a while. I think it was last year that I met with somebody, and she was in one part of the world, and she kept getting like feelings like she needed to move to Australia, and she was like, there's just no way.
Yeah.
But right in front of her, like, she was talking about her life, and it's like she had a woman who was like a friend of a friend that gave her $30,000 out of nowhere to like move and to invest in a house, all these different things falling into place. And I mean,
Right.
it was like, to me, it
Yeah.
was
Meant
like,
to be.
you don't need like any type of guidance. It's like laid out
Yeah.
before you, but she
Yeah.
still questioned it. And
Wow.
it's easier, I think, from the outside, because
Uh-huh.
still there's that,
Uh-huh.
when it's happening to us, it's like, I mean, she battled with accepting the money, and she had battled with this and battled with
Yep,
that. And
because she grew up saying it wasn't good to take things from people,
right,
probably.
right.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
We don't
well,
think
I
we're
mean,
worthy. Yeah, we're not
yeah.
worthy. Mm,
And our higher self was like, we sent her
mhm.
we had someone
Yeah,
send her $30,000. Does she need any more guidance than that?
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I
It's
don't
like
think she
what is
would.
it, the guy on the roof that's praying to God, to
Yeah,
send him somebody, and then, they keep sending him, and he's like, "No, God's gonna help me," and there he goes, he's
right.
gone. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And that's
Oh,
it's our limitations, also on, how we
it
think
is,
things are
it
going to
is.
come to pass and
Uh-huh,
manifest.
right. Wow. Yeah, so this is something the doctors told your mom she would live only 2 years past her emphysema diagnosis without a lung transplant, but she was a fighter and proved them wrong. My dad suffered with 35% lung capacity for about let me see, 70s, 80s, 90s, almost 20 years, lived 20 years with a very low emphysema, couldn't do anything, traveled all over in his car. He didn't never used oxygen. So, yes, I really do believe in the power of the mind. And there is a caveat to that. It doesn't mean don't go to the doctor. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
don't take, we're not doctors here. No. So
Mm-mm.
I just want to make sure
Yes.
you all know that, because
Disclaimer.
we are. Yeah. But you don't want to get
Entertainment
any kind of
purpose.
problems here. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. So, yeah. All right. So I could talk forever. He says yes. Jeffrey does say yes. It was a question. Is what we feel impactful on our bodies? And yes, I think so, Jeffrey. I think so.
Yes, a lot
Mhm.
of like the physical symptoms and discomfort and all that is rooted in emotion. A lot of
Yeah.
it. I mean, there are other factors at play that can be at play, but overall, and it can be built up emotion even from other lifetimes that we're still carrying with us. And it's something we need to release. And the more we carry
Yes.
it, the harder it is to release. So, um,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that's when it usually is manifesting. And usually also when our bodies are like chronic pain, chronic illness it's your team is like, you really need to do this work. It's
Yes.
it's it's
It's like you waited too long. We've been trying.
yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, it's like, unless you want to come
Hello.
back and do this all over again.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm a person who I have fibromyalgia. So sometimes I don't, but I don't want to say it because I don't want to own it. It's like,
Right.
okay, some days I'm achy. Okay, that's it. But today I'm not. So today I'm,
Yeah.
but thank you for the work you do, because the modalities that you use are one part of the healing for the people, but the people also need to know that their thoughts are things, their belief systems do dictate their bodies and what they, of course,
Yeah.
what they eat and drink and so on. So thanks for
And
the
the
question.
ownership, the
Yeah.
ownership's important too, because that specifically, if you become one with whatever you have and you identify with that, it's also the healing won't occur. And that's something that comes in
Mhm.
sessions where it's,
Yep.
she identifies with her disease too much, we can't heal her, because if we heal her,
Right.
she's not going to know who she
She
is.
has nothing. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. 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 So true. That's very
Yeah.
true. Who can I be without this disease?
And it's
Um,
scary to a lot of
it
people.
I know it is. But the other thing that I always loved, and as an English person that's taught English, the word disease is really dis-ease. It's
Mhm.
dis-ease. It's dis-ease in your body. And I never make light of people who have any kind of a disease. Believe me, it's not you chose it. Oh well, it isn't that. It isn't that. It's that you can make a difference. But if you feel like, who will I be if I didn't have this? Then you need to do that kind of work. And that's some
Yeah.
shadow that needs to be done. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
Mhm.
never, and this is, I think, really important, because it's happened in the past where I've talked about this and people automatically are like, oh, I have this. I've had chronic pain for 20 years. What did I do to deserve this? And that's
Right.
not like, what
It's not a
a
punishment.
horrible person, or
Yeah.
what is this a punishment? And that punishment is not within the spiritual vocabulary. It's never about being punished or rewarded. It's all about
Mhm. Mhm.
balancing. And when you're out of
Absolutely.
balance in whatever
Yeah.
capacity,
Yeah.
past lives, spiritual, emotional,
Or
that's
working too hard, drinking too much, eating too much, whatever, you're out of balance. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. That's something we really have to remember to work on sometimes, because we get busy, we have things happening in our lives, and we're not always, saying, well, gee, I think I better take a little time off because I could get really stressed out if I don't, and then you get stressed out and then you're like, I should have taken the time off, take a
yeah.
mental health day. Yeah.
I think it's just we get really uncomfortable when we're alone with ourselves and not having something to distract us from
Yes. Yes.
ourselves.
Oh my God. Oh my God, that's so true. I know people, and I've asked my students actually, because I love to ask people this question. When you get home and you're alone, do you have to turn the TV or the music on, or do you have to have, and so many people say yes. Why? Oh, I don't, it's too quiet. It's too quiet. I don't like it.
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
it's interesting. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind, but I like the silence actually. So
Mhm. Yeah.
even
Yeah.
like a couple weeks ago, like I never had the radio in my car, and I don't really drive a lot, but somehow the radio had gotten turned on. it was
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
it was like, oh my god, what is this? Which is kind of, well, it's not sad. It's just it was so
Yeah.
weird. It was like
Uh-huh.
I realized I hadn't like listened to
Yeah.
noise.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Oh, you probably didn't know any of the songs either, right? Because you hadn't listened in a long time. I'll turn it on and a lover boy will come on, Turn Me Loose, and I'm jiving and it's way up high and I'm dancing around in my car. So everybody thinks, oh, that woman, look at her. I just know they are. I know they're saying that old lady is going crazy in the car, and I don't care. I
Yeah,
don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Yeah. Yeah.
and if it makes them laugh, that you've done your job.
That's kind of what I think. Yeah. Laughing is beautiful. It really is. It's the thing. Do I sing with Loverboy? Yes. Turn Me Loose. Yeah, I do, Cheryl. I do. But not on a professional way. Oh, Amanda, good. Yeah, that's true. We can control our diabetes or our whatever we have that, we can to an extent, but a lot of it starts here. And I really do believe. Hi, Terry, at Holding Your Space. It's nice to see you. I want to say hi to all of those people that we have not said hello to. Jason and I just been having a great chat. I guess it's time we can ask a couple of questions here. So RB asks, could I get a message from my guides? All right, RB. In any particular area? Do you just want a general message?
Yeah. I'm not usually politically focused, but I still
right. Yeah, we don't have any politicals.
Yeah,
no, there's no
not know what I'm talking about, but I trust it. So
that's okay. I don't think her guides want the political reading. I want to give her one anyway. She probably had too many of that.
One person ask about particular
the orange man, yeah,
ex-president, and it was actually a very interesting, enlightening conversation. But
well, that's good. I'm glad. Yeah. That's awesome. All right. So what I got here is very interesting, because the first one that comes up is Hall of Learning, Spirit Guides, Confirmation, and Great Lessons. Look at this. You have walked through many halls of learning with your spirit guides. They probably access you at night, although RB, you could have possibly been working with them at other levels. Right now, the planet is going through an extraordinary ascension. We're getting so many downloads. We're getting so many things given to us. And as a person who, I have a dream show that's on Tuesday nights. As a person who does that, I like to look at what people's dreams are telling them. But there are certainly other things that can come up. The second one you get is Orion activation, supernova, recreation, renewal, and rebirth by light. We just had another massive solar flare. It was another X the other day. If you've seen some of the pictures of the aurora borealis that showed up in different parts of the world, you'll know it's almost like a verification. We are here. We are here. So
I read the most fascinating, I don't remember where I saw it, but it was talking about how the rainbows in the sky and all the Native American, like
oh yes,
I have a feeling that was on social media, so I don't think I
don't think
I'm alone in having read it, but it was just so interesting about the rainbow people coming back and
yes,
hearkening in the new age and all that. So it was really,
it gives me goosebumps when I read stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's where science meets woo-woo, or
yeah. And, I think science is having to go woo-woo at this point.
I think so too. I think so too.
So I do.
The aurora's coming back on June 6th. Okay. Wait a minute. We lost you. We lost your voice.
Are you there?
Okay. Yeah, there.
I don't even know how it went on mute by itself. So strange.
Well, you know how the universe works.
I'm not supposed to say it. So RB, it's about putting your what you think you can do and what you can accomplish, putting that higher, that you are capable the more you are, or what you think you are. And that this is, I think, something that's the most pressing thing for you to recognize right now. The sky's the limit is kind of what I'm hearing. So
wow.
In essence, if you're limiting yourself in some ways and making decisions, go a step farther than what you would be comfortable with, because that's what your spirit guides are kind of pushing you towards. So
wonderful.
And we're talking about limitations, so it's interesting.
Yeah. It reminds me of, I'm a big movie person, so it reminds me of the Kevin Costner movie, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. And the teachers show up when you're ready for the lesson. So that's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much for your question, RB. Cheryl Simpson, I'd like to ask my guides, how is being on the ocean supposed to help the world? Being on the ocean? I don't know if I understand the question, Cheryl. Can you reword that for us? Unless you get it, Jason.
Yeah.
Being on the ocean.
Are you being called to be on the ocean?
Oh, maybe
Or
that's what it is.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah. Let us know. Let us know. We can come back to you. Yeah. Seascape, what if you don't know what the thing you're supposed to not be limited to? The way you can know is it just keeps showing up. I think so.
Yeah, it gets to the point where your spirit team will just, and they do it to me, like knocking you upside the head with things, and sometimes it's even literally, but
Yes.
like pay attention. It's like, how many other ways can we get you to recognize this? And it's that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Taking coincidence out of your vocabulary is step one, and that's I think.
All right.
I've never said that before, but I think that if we let go of the concept of coincidences, the world would be
Yeah. I agree
place.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just know that everything is lining up the right exact way it's supposed to, even if it just shows up rotten. That's the hardest part, because things change. If things are going well, they're going to change. If things are going poorly, they're eventually going to, the change will come. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the funny thing is that when it's the positives, we we always expect the positive messages and the positive support, but then it's also like,
Yeah.
you're supposed to leave a job and like everything possible can go wrong, yet you still stay. And it's like,
Yeah.
maybe it's
How
time to
much
move
more
on.
do you have to be fired?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. I really do. Thank you very much, Seascape. Cheryl says, sailing on the ocean. How is it supposed to help bring the world? Okay. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. How is sailing on the ocean supposed to bring the world together? Well, the first thing I thought of was, if you're sailing in a sailboat and you're by yourself, what you're doing is, it's your peace of mind. It's what you feel. You feel at one with the water. You feel at one with your soul. Perhaps it's because there's nothing quite like being out there on any kind of a boat and feeling the beauty of the waves and the sky and so on and so forth. But if you're talking about big ships and cruise ships and things like that, it's corporate. Just corporate. It's like how our I remember this question like it was yesterday, that nuclear weapons are actually a form of insanity, because we have to have them because others have them. But why did we have to have them to begin with? And why do we think that we're going to be able to, if we use them, that's insane. So why isn't having them insane? So, yeah.
That's I had a conversation with through a session with a galactic council a couple of years ago with someone. It came through her session, and it was the first time, and I think one of the few times I've actually had like information that was pertinent to what was happening in the world. And at that specific time, which has changed, but at that specific time, it was when Russia was first with attacking the Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
They said that timeline had shifted to where there was a real like threat of nuclear use by Russia. And I kind of momentarily, it was kind of scary at the time, but and there was a question as to there was a debate up there somewhere about whether or not that they would allow that to happen, because up until that point, until my knowledge was, that would never happen again, because the nuclear war or nuclear
Right.
bomb, it affected everything, all places, everywhere, all at once.
Mhm.
And so, but they also gave the information, because I did ask, I said, why did that ever come into existence? And they said, because they do, sometimes inject certain inspiration into scientists and creators' minds, that,
Ah,
there's no coincidence that
right.
many more people than had all that information about the nuclear. That information was released into our consciousness in order for us to use it for good and use it for the positive, and harness the energy that could be made
Uh-huh.
available through, not weapons, but, so it was almost like the information was there. It's just those people who chose, what they chose to do with that
What they
information.
chose to do. So that's really the human, of course, the human
It's
frailty
the
that has
choice.
created
Yeah.
all these things. Yeah.
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 Which is
Wow.
unfortunate.
And that's why we have so many wars. I mean, just endless. It's very interesting that, and I hate what's going on in Gaza, and I'm not going to go into the politics of everything here. But what I will say is that growing up, I remember war in the Middle East all the time, all the time. It's not new. It's not different. This is a little bit more extreme, but it's terrible. Why can't people get along? It just doesn't make sense. Just over pieces of land. And a lot of philosophers, as you well know, you're a philosopher. A lot of philosophers have said everything was fine until man had to own land, and then everything kind of went down.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, yeah, thank you. Let's see.
Oh,
Star. Oh, go ahead.
didn't I think kind of what I'm getting in terms of the ocean aspect is,
Oh,
one, that recognizing that your own joy, if well, hopefully that brings you joy. I'm assuming, it's infectious, like the ripples in the ocean.
yeah.
Your joy also produces ripples even across the world and
Yes.
galactically and everywhere else. The other thing I think that's important to recognize, and I think Terry's here, and we had this conversation a while ago,
Uh-huh.
is there's a lot of information and data that was stored in the Antarctica in the ice way back
Yes.
when,
Yep.
by pre-Atlantean groups. Antarctica used to be like the Eden of the earth, and they recognized that things weren't going exactly the right direction. So they stored all this information in the water. And so now that they're melting, we look at that as climate change and depressing.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but it's actually re-releasing all this information into the oceans.
I hadn't
So,
looked at it that way. That's awesome. Mm,
yeah.
good. Yeah.
So our connection with the water, just generally, we're remembering and
Mhm.
being given information, whether we're not aware of it or not. So
Yeah.
messages, when you're on the ocean, you're being exposed to that water, you're retaining information, you carry it with you, it changes your DNA, it changes your composition.
Uh,
So it's
yeah.
it's much more than
Much
just
more than one little thing.
with your
The other
floaty.
thing I watched on a video from the other night was that the UFOs are living down below the Mariana Trench, which is in that area. I mean, I
Yeah.
know it's not in that area, but you down the South Pole.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so they're there as well. And Cheryl said it was a catamaran. And honey, if you have a catamaran, oh my God, that's wonderful. You enjoy it. That's why people bringing the world together is starts with you. It starts with you. Absolutely. So
Even if
good.
the world around you is dark and chaotic,
Uh-huh.
there's constantly
There is.
focus on
Yeah.
your joy, focus on your
Focus on
playfulness,
your joy.
focus on your
That's right.
laughter, and don't feel guilty about it, because you're
Right.
doing work. Yeah.
I bookmarked this because I loved it. You do you, Starhawk says. My granddaughter has convinced me that on my birthday to pierce my nose, throw off the chains of belief. There you go, girl. You have a fun time. Oh my, that's great. So Ness has a birthday coming up. So she wonders what her energies are seeing. Neth, you are so busy. I hope you're planning on taking some time off. That's the energy I see. Birthday energy to me is fabulous. Wow. Oh my. Holy Grail comes in. Inner discovery, finding sacredness, and you are what you seek. And that's you. The Holy Grail of writing. The second thing I get is memories of Atlantis. You're going to have spiritual acceleration and progress, and also technology will work out well for you. I think that's pretty good. That's sort of aligned with the things that you're working towards. So.
So for you, there's this focus on the importance of recognizing that well, we all are, but you are kind of making sure that you receive as much as you give out in terms of energy. So I don't know how that might come to play in your life, but letting the energy flow. And I think I even saw this earlier in the chat about someone saying having trouble receiving, which it's interesting because it's your birthday. So I'm not sure if that resonates to any degree. But it's important for you because that allowing for that flow allows for a flow of abundance, and that abundance is including your personal joy and also material abundance. So just recognizing that it isn't a one-way street when it comes to energetic flow, and that you're a conduit for that, and so to help or to allow that to guide you.
All right. Thank you, Ness. All right. We are at the hour. You got a few more minutes, or you got a busy schedule, Jason?
We can do another
little while. Okay.
Sure.
All right. I'm really enjoying our discussion more than anything. So
yeah.
So thank you. All right. So you still haven't figured out how old you are yet, though. I just know it. All right. So Diamond says, what good changes do you see coming from my husband? He's a bit down and miserable. I'm sorry, Diamond. It's been going on for a while for you.
I think the Mary Poppins photo is a good start.
I do too. Some fun movies. How about that?
Spoonful of sugar.
Oh, that's a good one.
Maybe he needs cupcakes. I'm not trying
to. No, I love that. I love that. And that, yeah, you know, the thing is that my house is a mess. I had flooding in my house. The kitchen is all thrown. It's been this way for 3 months or 2 months now. And if I didn't laugh about it every day, I pull my hair out. So, you know, you got to kind of change and just realize that, you know, it's really the more you concentrate on feeling down and feeling like, oh my God, everything's awful, and the more miserable you are. And so again, I'm not trying to make fun of your husband, and you know that, Diamond. But yeah, and it's harder, I think, for the guys. I'm sorry, Jason, but my husband has been home for 7 months. We don't know what's wrong with him, but some days he can't get out of bed, and he's like, oh, I heard oh my God. And it's like, I need you to get a new idea about what you want to do, you know? So he isn't used to not feeling well. It's unusual for him. So you got the central sun. And I love this because there's a scarab in the middle of it. Look at that. And it says here for him to start getting abundance downloads. So here's my thought. Go ahead and go on, if you can, to some of the YouTube channels and see if you can find something with Abraham Hicks. She is wonderful. She has a lot of videos. And see if you can get like an abundance way of him reformatting something in abundance, a job, money coming in, whatever it is. But he's regenerating. And so he's going to be successful when he gets there, I think. He's got to drop his shields, and his heart will heal eventually from this. So I know that it's hard because there's no timeline, and that's what you're really looking for. And so he's really looking for it, and it makes it really hard. But he's got to say what he wants what he says, and let it go. That's one of the best ways to handle it, Diamond.
So there's two things. One is there is a break ahead. So I'm
okay. Good
assuming
news.
that there will be a change in energy and change of kind of this trajectory. But there's something in the stillness that's important for him. So it's almost like there's a reason why he needs this time, but he's just interestingly about being with himself, and it's something that he needs to get through. And so it's not, I think that there's a message of this isn't something, it's not something that you can fix or something that's your fault. It's more, this is a period that is necessary for his own growth, and that the best you can do is give him the, opportunity to, work with you or speak with you or whatever block might be there. We're never blocked. But just recognizing the best you can do is give him that space. And then if he chooses to accept it or use it, that's on him, and that you've done what you can do, and not.
Yeah.
I'm getting, you might be a little empathic or a lot empathic because you don't want to carry that on and take that on for him. So just be wary of that too, and protection and everything else. And if you start feeling like he does, which again, Mary Poppins, I think is a good
really
Mary
is.
Poppins, stay Mary Poppins, and keep zippity doo dah.
I love it.
Yeah. So it's just reassurance. Everything happens for a reason. He's where he's supposed to be. This is a part of his healing and growth, and just to keep positive about it.
And if there is a monetary element, of course, that's difficult. But I really do believe that we're usually given these experiences in order for us to heal and take the time to heal. But we're so used to living in a world of quick fixes that, and I know with my husband, I had to really say to him, I need to vent, but you don't have to fix anything. And, it's very important for him to know that, because men tend to want to fix as well. And so do those of us who are empathic. And we can't. We're enabling too much by doing that. So,
yeah. And it can make you unhealthy too if you're stressing over him and stressing over what he's going through. You can't, because you have to save a little for yourself.
Absolutely. I love this, Teresa. Maybe he needs to realize he is lovable, not for what he does, but for who he is. That can be hard for men to integrate without shedding their jobs. Men are very attached, at least the ones I've encountered. I don't want to speak for Jason. Men are attached to their jobs. They're attached to them. That's their, the very thing that they feel empowered by. So it is a little bit different. Yeah. Thank you, Teresa. You're always such a great, I tell you, Teresa, you're a psychic. I don't know if you believe that or not. But.
Well, there's a comment, Amanda Carroll, love Mary Poppins. I have a Mary Poppins purse. You never know what you're going to find in it.
That's true. That's very true. And remember, with her umbrella, she used to just float around everywhere she went. Yeah. Oh, that's good. So Lalima's saying, what are the energies of having a clinic in a play school? I know versus a standalone clinic. Okay, so Lalima is a doctor over, I believe, in India. I'm not 100% sure, but she wonders if it would be good to have I guess, be close to a play school, or if it should be in a different building. So I kind of like the working with the play school, as long as it's not too loud. I don't know. You got some built-in clients that way. It doesn't hurt. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Leah.
I guess what I keep hearing like focus and intention. So I guess that's what's more important. It's not really it's
Yeah.
not whether to have it there or not, but what is the intention or what is the focus of the clinic.
Mhm.
If it is there for, I mean, I can't see a clinic being having ulterior motives, but I mean,
Right.
um, I'm not sure why the focus. I'll have to think about it. Or
So there is a couple of things that because my husband had a chiropractic office and we had it next to a massage place, except we found out the massage place wasn't really very good. So
oh,
we didn't get it people from there, but it was near there, and it was near a haircut place, and it was near a little store, and it was very visible. So it's the visibility, it's if you and to think about also the parking is very important. Parking, but
mm-hmm,
uh, and the noise level of the play school. That's the
mm-hmm,
only thing I would think about, because the people in the massage place didn't like us being next to them because we were too loud and they were trying to massage people. So they complained about it. But look what I brought up. I brought up the parking. So yeah, I got the parking. I did. Very interesting. Yeah, that the parking showed up. Anyway, yeah.
I wonder. This might be. No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna question it about the modalities and what modalities are involved and used in the clinic. That seems to be what the focus is. So I
I
don't
think
know how
she's
that.
a pediatrician, I think.
Okay.
So that's why I said built-in patients. Yeah.
Okay.
But that doesn't always mean it will be so, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, personally, logically, I think it's a good idea. I went to a
Mhm.
few schools where there was no nurse or medical anything, and it would have
Mhm.
been nice.
Yes, it's very good. I don't
So,
have to worry if somebody gets hurt, I can just go next door,
yeah.
right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. Wow. Well, think about those things, dear. And over here in the United States, we often do like a traffic flow assessment. And I don't know if you would be doing that over there or not, but it's like, there going to be problems people getting in and out of the parking lot? Is there are there good roads right near there? That kind of thing. So think about those things. Yeah.
I think that's a good point about the noise.
Mhm.
My mom actually, last year she moved out of where she was before to an isolated place, but there was like a bar studio or something that moved in next door to her,
Oh
and
dear.
it was not a
Uh,
good combination. She wasn't very happy about it.
no, right. And you can't really do anything about your neighbors.
Yeah,
That's the same way where you're living. So yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. All right. Laurie, I love this share. The Schumann resonance sent the energies of angel wings today. Therefore, the men to begin developing more. Many will need our assistance while we go through the male driven awakening. I love that. I love that. Yeah. Wow. Not cities that would do surveys on traffic, but you can do one for your business. Like you can have somebody go out there and see what the traffic flow looks like, and maybe you could see what sometimes cities have certain things like that as well. So I don't know. They won't do it for you, but they can let you know how busy that area is in your area. So all right. So we got Connie. Would you love? I'd like to know if you see a move for me. Your house is too big for you. Oh well, there you go. And I bet it would fit somebody else's specs really well. So Connie, I want to ask you a question, and I'm not trying to be nosy, but I believe you lost your husband, and that's another reason why the house is too big for you. How long has he been gone? Would you let me know if you're still here? Is it under a year? I don't know if she's still here. Oh, 10 years. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. The reason I ask is they say don't ever make a decision really quickly within like a year or so of a death. So, okay. 10 years. That's quite a while. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you, dear.
So I keep having like a fox pop in my head, which for me is usually about not just about the nature of foxes of playfulness, but they're usually hunted, and so this is the encouragement of not to be the hunted, but to be the hunter. And so I think that relates to your question in terms of feeling at the under the control of your home and the energies that are there, shifting that to it where it's a place that you choose and you create and you step out and become seen, step out from the shadows. And I feel like there's a sense of needing to hide or feeling lost in energies there. So I think spiritually speaking, it's important that, and you would be supported in making a move to somewhere that's more like home.
And I got my crazy cards, Connie. I get Wi-Fi, so it's like, yes, your online activity is encouraging you to go the distance and your community here. And we want you to have fun. And look at the old disco ball comes up. So yes, you need to go and find where you need to be. And Aladdin says your wish will be fulfilled. So I think that's definitely between what Jason said and what I said. Seems like it would be a yes.
Yeah,
yes.
There's something connected with you becoming more social, or you becoming more active and happier and joyous, and just your presence and what you do. And I'm also getting the sense you already know the answer to this question.
She does.
Which happens a lot in like QHHT sessions. Like we ask the questions and we're like, she already knows this. Why is she asking this?
we doubt ourselves. I think we doubt what we think we believe is it couldn't be true. I couldn't be thinking that. I couldn't have heard that. I couldn't have felt that. Yes, you could. Yeah, you could. Yeah. So yeah, you're not the only one though, dear. You're not the only one. All right. So we've got we're running at about 17 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and say that we're pretty much done for the day, but it was wonderful to talk with you.
Yeah.
And it's please come back again, and not like 5 months from now, because I love Jason is doing these topic discussions on his channel, and so you should go over and check them. And I'm going to go back to finish the first one, but when I saw aging, that just blew my mind today, and it was like, okay, I got the message. See, I followed the message. Yeah. And you did too. That's what you were going to start off with. And there are no coincidences.
No, but not just talking about slapping me upside the head, because I've been resisting doing anything, but then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to answer
You're
questions.
really good at it. You're really good at it. I think you we all need that in our own, because we work alone in our channels, and we've got our wonderful subscribers and members and things, but we need to encourage ourselves, and to
Yeah.
know that we need to do that kind of work. There you go, Guy. There you go.
I got
There you go.
validation. I wasn't even
You
asking
got a
for
lot
it.
of validation today. You did. And you're not doubting it. So there you go.
No.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye.